I've got a sneaking suspicion that's why the fishing's no good. It's bloody freezing. Welcome back to a year on the lake. To put it into a few words, this month's been pretty tough, really. As most people probably know, it's winter and fishing is very tough at this time of year. It's a bit of a shame, but you know, some fish have been biting. We've been out to, well, as you can see, we're on the lake now, but me and Bob's are out on the canal this morning. Dead baiting for pike, and we had a bit of success. It wasn't bad. You must do, otherwise how do you know?
That clean.
Yeah, that's clean. What a load of crap. Freezing. Hey? Did you? No, just normal smelt. Well, we're moving now. Nothing really happened in that first spot, so I'm gonna go try near the bridge, see if there's anything there. I'm gonna strike. Feels like a pretty decent fish, actually. I think it's a small one. No, it's not a bad fish. Fighting well. It's probably, yeah, it's good fish this. Oh. Yes, there we go, shimmied it in. Oh, that's heavy, that.
Put it on.
Yeah. Hold this one up for camera. Nice fish that. Probably about 14–15 pound. Caught on a dead bait roach on a float ledge you'd set up. Beautiful fish for Christmas Day, so we'll get it back in. Probably recognise that if I catch it again. Really fat.
Nice Christmas present that on your hand, Tom. Have a close up.
The day before that, Christmas Eve, I forgot to say actually, Merry Christmas everyone. It's Christmas Day today for me. But yeah, we've been on canal and that's about it this morning. And we're going to go home about 4ish and get a Christmas dinner. But Christmas Eve, the day before today, was very eventful to say the least. We started off fishing on the canal on a spot where we fished previously, and I had a bite there a week before we fished it, and that's why we decided to go back. Probably a bad idea because we didn't catch anything that time. And then after that we went to a marina just a little ways up from there, and I cast a deadbait roach out, and that's what seemed to be doing the tricks recently on that bit of the canal. We couldn't get a bite on smelt, which is normally our favourite bait, which is strange. But I cast my rods out near to some boats, well, not near to some boats, but close enough to say near. And I was fishing for about 2 hours, and the float started dipping up and down, and I knew there were a fish on. Right, that's on. There we go, in the net. That's a nice fish. It's probably 8, 9, maybe £10 that.
Seems to be doing alright.
Probably a bit bigger than that. But probably about 8 or 9 pounds. But me and Bob's recognised that fish because we caught it a couple of years ago. It's got a bit of a damaged mandible, but it's definitely grown since then, so it's feeding well and looked in pretty good condition. That wound had healed from then. After that, we went back down the canal to behind a building, where out of the wind, to be honest, because the weather were a bit horrible. And we fished that spot for a couple of hours like we normally do, and didn't see any activity of any fish or any pike really. No activity on the floats, nothing. Well, we've been fishing this spot for about an hour now since we moved down from where I had that first fish, and nothing's really happened. Bob's hasn't had a fish for 2 weeks. It's a bit rubbish. So I think I might move my rods down about 30-40 yards, just leapfrog down the canal a bit, try a different spot. I think if we catch any more, it's probably just landing near them. If we move down, I might land near a fish. Weather's picked up a bit, it's not as windy as it was, still cold, but yeah, I'll move my rods down and get them back out, see if we can locate any fish down that way. So we scrapped that spot after thinking, nah, looks a bit featureless and doesn't look like it might hold many fish. So we went back towards the marina, not actually in the marina, but underneath the bridge, because it started raining for a little bit, so we went under the bridge to get out of rain. And I had a small jack, about £1, very small fish, but oh well. Sometimes I'd rather not catch him that small, but feel a bit sorry for him. But what can you do? Bob's were fishing next to me and didn't get anything until he cast his rods up a little ways, and we're only in about 5 minutes that rod, and he had a run, but unfortunately he lost that fish. But that's the way it goes in pike fishing. But following on from that, when he was actually playing that fish, a boat came round the corner.
Give it a minute.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, you're alright. Couldn't see us, could you? Hey? Yeah, I got it. Cute now. Yeah. Don't know how. But we didn't hear it. He probably didn't even see us because we were on a blind corner. So he probably just came out of the marina and wiped out 2 of the rods. I managed to get mine out really quick, but obviously Bob's had a fish on, so he couldn't wind his other rod in. Luckily we didn't lose any tackle. The line and everything just went round the front of the boat, so it wasn't a massive issue. But you know, I think if we didn't have that strong tackle on that we used, we might have been destroyed because Bob's had to actually stand on his rod to stop it going in. Mine nearly went in as well, so that were eventful. And I'm not going to lie, that's pretty much the most that's happened this month. We haven't really been out much because the weather's been so bad, as most people probably know. And to be honest, we haven't been able to catch much. But yeah, Bob's might go out and do a bit of grayling fishing and on a new spot where we haven't fished and see if we can get any grayling on the bank. Like I say, it's an unknown spot, so we don't know if there'll be any fish there, but we might pick up a few maggots and go try that. But we might not, depending on what the weather's like and the river's like, to be fair. So yeah, that's all I'll say from me. We're going to fish today. Hopefully we can land a few fish. If not, then that's just the way it's been this month. Sometimes it's the way it goes. So yeah, it's all from me.
Christmas late breakfast.
Right, so I'm just swapping over from a ledger setup now that I've been fishing for about an hour or two, and I'm just going to show you my basic float ledger setup. It consists of a float, a couple of bits of terminal tackle, a lead and a stop knot. I'm fishing with pretty heavy tackle when I pike fish. I've just got £60 Spectra braid on. It's very cheap stuff, but it's very strong, and it's pretty much the best stuff I've ever used. So I'll get into it quickly. I'm just going to run through it very basically and not mess about too much. So I've threaded the rod up already, and I'm just going to thread my float onto the main line. So it's pretty basic. This is a slider float, this one, and this is what you need for this sort of setup. So you just thread the line through until it comes out the other side. Then that's your float attached already. Then you take a little running clip, which these are NU fish I got off eBay. I got like 25 for about £4, so very cheap. But the beauty of these is you can buy cheap ones because you don't want them to be strong anyway, because if your lead gets snagged on bottom, you want either that plastic to snap or the metal where your lead's attached to bend out basically. So that's threaded onto the line the same as the float, and that just slides up out of the way. Then you take a little rubber buffer bead, and these are ESP carp ones, and the beauty of these is you've got a big end and a small end, and the line threads through the smaller side, and then the bigger side is where what goes over at top at swivel. So that slides on just like the clip goes up the line out of the way, and then you just attach a little quick change link, and these are Fox ones, these. But if you've got any sort of quick change link, they'll do the job fine. That threads on to the line, just where the swivel is, and then that's tied on with any knot that you know well, and make sure it's a very strong knot. So that's where all the tension's going to be if you get any fish on. So I'm going to use the blood knot, which is pretty easy to tie. There's loads of tutorials on YouTube as well, probably more in depth, but basically all you do is you just make a little loop in the line like so, and then you wrap the tag end around the main line 6 or 7 times, like so, and then your tag end goes in the little loop that you started with, just underneath like that. Then you fold that tag end back over. In fact, you don't actually have to do this, but it just ensures it never comes undone. So you fold that tag end back over, then back through another loop that you just made. Pull that through, then wet the line a bit and just tighten down to the end of the swivel. Sometimes it helps just to pull on the tag end a little bit as well. And then that's on now, and then you just cut the tag off. That's pretty much the ledger setup done. Now I just need to add a stop knot. So for the stop knot material that I'm using 14 pound power gum. This is Drennan. And all you basically want to do is get a length off for about 4 inches, 4 or 5 inches, cut some off, and then the stop knot wants to be above the float, so all you do is you line the stop knot material above the main line, form a little loop like so, and then you should have a little tag end, which basically all you do is you wrap it underneath the main line and back through that loop about 6 times. It's a bit fiddly, but you can get used to it. Like I say, if you're struggling with this knot, just type in on YouTube how to tie a stop knot for pike fishing. Made a bit of an ash of that, but you know, it should be fine. That. There you go, that's your stop knot on. So Bobs and Brent like to leave these little tag ends on, and they can help if you're fishing at distance. You can see those tags and how far away they are from your float for when you're setting your depth. So I'm going to get this cast out, and I might even do a little bit to show you how to get your depth as well. If you know the average depth of the lake, set your stop knot about that depth. If you don't know, set it about 5 foot. That's a good starting point. So that's what I'll do now. And then I'm going to fish next to these reeds here. So all I'm going to do is stop knot set, cast in, and as you can see the float's sat level on the surface now, so that's just slightly over depth. If I tighten the line up, you can see the float cocks there, and that's fishable now. You can fish it like that. As long as your float's cocked, you can fish it. But I'll just show you quickly what it's like to fish under depth. So I'll take a few inch off, and this float should go under water now. Yeah, so that's called fishing under depth, and as you can see, I don't know if you can see on camera, but the float's actually a couple of inches under the water. So in that case, you'd have to bring your float back in and just add a couple of inches back onto the stop knot. Then your float should either sit directly up in the water or flat, and then if you tighten up to it, it should a bit shallower there. Get it back to where I was. So as you can see now, the float's actually flat up in the water, so that's dead depth now. So the line's just going straight down from the float to the lead. So that's that. If you fish really far over depth, I'll show you this last thing. So it's good to know. That's probably about 1 or 2 foot over depth now. You can see that the stop knot's actually not touching the float. So that's over depth. But if you bring your rod back or just tighten the line up, as long as that stop knot's on float and your float cocks like that, then you're going to see a bite. But always try to get it as close to the actual depth of the lake as you can, so you don't want to be tightening it up loads because it just gets on your nerves. But that's how to set your depth with a slider float on a float ledger setup. So I'll get some bait on now. In fact, one last little tip before I do that: never find the depth with your bait or your hooks on. In that case, just do it with a lead. It's a lot easier and it saves you from getting snagged. I'm going to bait up now with a roach and get cast out and see if we can catch any fish. Right, well, we hadn't managed to get anything on the lake. We had a few bites on the canal this morning, so, well, I did. Bob's didn't get a bite. He never does, really. Bit of a blanker, really. 2-3 weeks now, is it? Bob's not caught out? Yeah. Not right good, are you? Bit embarrassing, really. If you ask me, it's a bit embarrassing. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. The next few months might be compiled into one video because, as most fishermen probably know, it's pretty hard to catch fish at this time of year. So you never know, it might be the best month ever next month. I doubt it, but you know, we'll see. So yeah, thanks for watching and we'll see you next time.
Apart from we're going greyling fishing.
Yeah, well, we might not. We might do.
Just say, well, we decided to go greyling fishing. Just to sort of end it.